We're here with Terry Connor, Vice President and Director of Athletics for the Saints. Terry has been a member of the Saints community for the past 25 years and was a student at Thomas More. When you look at this towel, what do you think when you see it?
The Connor Crazies, huh? Interesting. I think that was back from when I was actually coaching here, when I coached basketball here, and that was something we got the students did. We tried to create a student section with it and that, and so kind of interesting. But we weren't very good back then, so we didn't have too big a crowd.
Just tell me a little bit more about your family's legacy at Thomas More.
You know, it's been a while. So my father went here when it was Villa Madonna, when he came back from World War II, and then he came here in 1978 as basketball, baseball, and athletic director. My mother actually graduated from here the same year I did in '92. She, during the Great Depression, she had to drop out of high school, so she got her GED. And then when my father was working here, she went back and got her Bachelor of Elective Studies.
Wow, so at the same time.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Wow.
So it was kind of cool. So, and then, let's see, I've had an older brother, Jim, who graduated from here. He's a research doctor for Alzheimer's up in at Penn State Medical Center. Had another brother graduated from here, Ed. He's a psychologist here in town.
Okay.
And then had a sister who's a teacher, graduated from here. And I had another brother who went here for a little while, but then went overseas and played basketball overseas. And then myself, and then I met my wife here.
Okay.
She went to school here. Wow. She played tennis, and so I met her here, and then both my children graduated from here. So I've been here a minute.
I guess you could say that almost the entire Connor family really grew up in Thomas More.
Absolutely, and you know, we I remember when I was little, I was working the bingos. We used to have bingo on Friday night and set up the bingos which actually helped fund the Connor Convocation Center that's named after my father.
Oh.
I try and tell people it's named after me, but nobody's buying it. So it's but it's named after my father. So coming into work every day in a building named after your father is pretty cool.
Pretty dope. So tell me about how your outlook on college athletics has evolved since your time attending Thomas More.
You know, it's been a great learning process. You know, we were when I was here playing at Thomas More, we were NAI. We were NAI for years, and then right at the end of my career, we were transitioning to Division III.
Okay.
So, and then of course I took over when we were Division III, and so, you know, seeing the difference in those two divisions in that, and then transitioning back to NAI. And now moving to Division II. So it's college athletics has just taken on a whole new life with how much popularity it has and the amount of money that's invested in it and everything, and especially on those higher levels, just incredible. You know, sometimes you look, and even in high school, the athletics and the AAU and summer programs, you think, wow, the money that's invested in that is really astonishing when you look at it. And that's coming from somebody who made their living off athletics. But you're like, you know, sometimes you look and say, you know, we should be making sure we're making that investment in the academics as well.
Of course. So would you say from your time participating and your time coaching and now even serving as a director of athletics in that position, would you say what would you say the difference is? Like personally,
I think personally the biggest difference is the amount of the popularity.
Okay.
I just think it's dramatically changed over the years with that popularity of how big it's grown and how I guess how some people take it. You know, some people take it almost as like life and death, whether your team is winning and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it's I mean, you see it, and it's different. You know, it's different in that aspect where it's, you know, I always believe you go out, you work hard at whatever you're going to do, go out and compete with everything you've got, and everything else takes care of itself. And if you do that, the wins, losses, that kind of stuff, it comes, it goes. Nobody remembers that. You remember the friends you made, the things you get to do during that time, and going to the games on the bus or whatever, and the talking, that kind of stuff. So I think the wins and losses have taken too much of a front seat in society for us. I think people hold it too important.
What are your thoughts on the role of athletics in higher education?
You know, I think, and this is something I did. I think you use it to work to get that degree. You know, there's motivation to make sure that you're doing well in the classroom. You know, most people, a lot of people grow up loving that sport, playing that sport. So you know, you're going to work hard to make sure you're eligible to play that sport, and then the degree comes with it. You know, and sometimes we have that backwards. We say the sport is more important than the degree, and that's not at all the case. So, you know, I think using sport to that avenue of that end result of getting that degree is the most important thing we can look at, and that's the way, hopefully, our student athletes look at it, and they enjoy the journey of what they're doing to get that degree, because that's what's going to define their life, right? And you know, you get that degree, you go on and you're successful in your life, and you can support your family and those type of things. So I think we need to focus on that, and our student athletes need to focus on that journey of what they're doing.
So just tell me a little bit about what the day in the life of a director of athletics looks like at Thomas More.
I don't have any idea. You know, it's fun, it's challenging. You know, when you're at a school with not massive resources like some other places and that, but you know, it's a challenge every day. There's such a variety. You know,
can you actually tell me about some of the challenges that you face?
I think one of the challenges, you know, we have 31 programs. We have one gym, we have one turf field. So, you know, and Jeff Hetzer, who's associate AD, he does a lot of the scheduling for us, and that just a challenge alone of getting teams where they can practice, you know, and the times that they can practice and that kind of stuff. So those are some of the big challenges. You know, the variety of things you get to deal with, and it's you know, you get great people to work with, and that's the awesome thing about Thomas More. You've got to work with everybody on campus. We have over 800 in athletics. So, you know, to be able to, we're kind of involved in everything, right, with that many people. So we get to work with everybody, and I think that variety of getting to work with everybody with student affairs and operations and all different types of things, I think it's just, that part to me is fun, because you get to see what everybody else does and be a part of that. So I think the variety and the challenges are what is fun. I don't know what you would do if you didn't have challenges. You know, that to me that's fun to go and see what you can do. Now I'd like the opportunity to not have those challenges. Trust me.
So how's it been seeing Thomas More grow over the years, both in athletics and academic side of things?
You know, it's been interesting. You know, I mean, when I was here, Murphy Hall wasn't here, and when I was going to school, and that it was just Howard Ackerman and Marion, and you know, so just watching everything on campus grow and get bigger, and you know, the amount of student athletes and everything. I think it's just been neat to watch Thomas More go, you know, move into what it is today. And you know, the popularity it has, and we've been blessed to be, you know, very good athletically. We've always been great academically, and that's the other neat part, is watching the student athletes go out, and now you're, you know, guys I coached, you know, and meeting up with them, and they're highly successful in their field and what they're doing, and they're, you know, they're living all over the world, and I stay in contact with several of them, and it's just, that part is really neat to be a part of, and I think as I get older, I appreciate that part a lot more. You know, watching them be successful and have a family and that kind of stuff. So I think that part to me is even better as I see it as I'm getting older. So, although I'm not old, even though I've been here, you know, 25 years or whatever.
What are you looking forward to the most when it comes to joining Division II with NCAA?
You know, I think it's the what makes the group you join, what makes it is the conference. You know, we were blessed in Division III. We were in a great conference in the President's Athletic Conference. We had a great run in there, and I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the ADs, the commissioners, and everybody. the Mid-South with the NEI, same thing. There was a lot of great people in the Mid-South Conference that we got to deal with on a regular basis. And now it's moving to Division II in the Great Midwest. I think it's the same thing. I've been in meetings for 2 years with them, and just a lot of really good people in that. And that's I think the most important thing when you're working with those people is are they good people? Is it people you can work with in that? And that's what makes your job, your career. That's what makes it enjoyable when you get to run across people like that. And Tom Dagger in the conference office at the Great Midwest, they're just always supporting you. They're there for you when you need guidance, and we need a lot of guidance because we haven't done this before. So so moving that move, where there's a lot of learning going on. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting to see where our teams end up and how everybody keeps asking me, well, how are you going to do? I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't scout those teams, and that's us. So we'll see when we get there. We'll just play and see how things go.
So what is the most valuable lesson you've learned over your 25 years working in college athletics?
The most valuable lesson, I would say, to step back and take a deep breath. I think there's a lot of times that we get hung up on a lot of things and get really agitated, and sometimes I was always one that we're gonna go forward. If there's a roadblock, we're gonna knock it out of the way and just keep right on moving.
You were also talking about the wins and losses earlier too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think now I kind of learned to just step back. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's usually if there's a problem, it's always somewhere in the middle. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. There's, somebody's having this problem and they're saying it's usually somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I think taking that deep breath, stepping back, giving yourself time to gather information, that kind of stuff. That, and I think watching people enjoy the journey of what they do. And I think I learned that a lot from my kids. My daughter played several different sports growing up. My son played basketball and baseball growing up. My daughter played down here. My son played down here. And watching them enjoy their journey of what they did, as a parent, rather than, when you take that AD hat off and you watch them as a parent. And I think that part, just seeing the friends they made and the I guess interaction they got to have. I think watching the student athletes, I think I'm focusing on that a lot more now than what I used to, and watching the journey that, the playing time and all that kind of stuff. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just really not that important. Yeah. Go out and compete, work hard at what you do and compete and do the best you can. But then after that, go focus on your craft, get your degree, and what you're going to do in life, and enjoy that part of it. I think is probably the two biggest things that I've looked at over the years and been able to step back a little bit.
Thank you for your commitment to Thomas More Athletics and taking the time to sit here and answer all of our questions.
Well, I appreciate it, Carlos. Thanks for having me.